Hey guys, it's here bringing you another patch note video, a breakdown, whatever you want to call it. I like doing these. As I've always said, I probably wouldn't read the patch notes in depth or at all if I didn't make videos on it, if I'm honest. And I think a lot of you guys would not read them unless you are watching a video. So let's get into it. Obviously, you can see straight away, Worlds. So I don't know if this is the Worlds patch, but it obviously is continuing the theme of balance that they basically only care about pro play from the last patch, this patch, and this might be the World's patch, or there might be one more. We'll see. They might even say. So, are they saying anything coming this week or blah blah blah? No. So the streamer mode thing. So well, again, I do have a video coming out tomorrow as the second video reacting to all the stuff recently. By the way, the game dev update stuff. So that streamer mode is coming. Account linking, so all your accounts and Smurf and alt accounts are linked to your main account. There's nothing you can do about it, by the way, so toxic behavior is going to be punished across all accounts. That video is coming out tomorrow, but you know, I will maybe mention a little thing about the streamer mode when we get to it. So patch note, not a huge one, which I like. Nerfs to Briar, Oriana, Volibear again. He's had literally like 5 nerfs in a row, by the way. And Warwick. Buffs to Anivia, my bird. Katarina, which is ridiculous. Malphite, Pantheon, and Vigar. It's also worth mentioning the cat one is ridiculous because like that's not a world-centric buff. Katarina isn't played in Worlds. She's a solo queue champion, not a competitive champion. So that's weird. Then adjustments to Azir, Camille, Fizz, Graves, and Wukong. Pretty much 4 out of 5 of those are competitive level champions. All of them basically apart from Fizz. So that'll be interesting to see. And then we're getting some new skins, which is Soraka, Fiddlesticks, Lissandra, and Xin Zhao. So yeah, Worlds patch, here we go. Right, so welcome to the official patch of the 2025 League of Legends World Championship. Oh, right, so this is the actual patch that they're playing on. As most of our pro focus came in last patch, so yeah, it was last patch and this patch, we're taking great care to ensure this patch changes jive with both pro and the rest of us at home. Okay. As a result, we're delivering some buffs for champions who underperform when compared to experienced players we're comparing experienced players to experienced players of other champions. Some nerfs to long-term overpowers in lower skill brackets, Volibear, and a set of adjustments aimed at buffing or nerfing pro power without affecting overall win rates for normal and ranked play. To celebrate Worlds, we're bringing a bit of the Rift with Worlds-themed decor, including a Summoner's Cup drop by top lane to check it out. So, you know, they said, you know, we all kind of thought that this year there's 3 themes. We started in Noxus, then there was kind of the Spirit Blossom map, and then it was a bit like, wait, we're going back to just base Summoner's Rift. Riot said it's because of Worlds. This might be why. I don't know how much it's going to change the appearance of it, but if they're going to put like Worlds decor around the map, maybe that's why there wasn't a kind of regional theme in Split 3. Trials of Xin Zhao, Trials of Twilight Xin Zhao will be this year's eSport Rev Share skin. So if you buy that skin, part of it will be going towards the budget of what the teams end up getting, etc. 60 brand new team emotes will release at 350 Riot points. So if you have a favorite team or you just want to have their icon, you can pick them up and kind of show your support. I'm not sure. I don't actually know if it still exists or is true. But back in the day, the team icon also went to that team in terms of revenue. So if you bought a TSM icon, a portion of that went to TSM. Now, I don't know if that's true or not anymore, but you'd hope it would be. And then let everyone on the Rift know you're rooting by picking up a 2025 team icon for 250. Oh, so there's team emotes and there's team icons. 250 RP. Equipping them will add your team's 3-letter acronym to the front of your name in game. Oh, so like if you again, I don't even know what teams are around anymore. CLG and TSM come to mind, but they've not existed for years. Fnatic. So if you equip the Fnatic one, I presume they're still a team. FNC will be at the beginning of your name, but it won't be a part of your official name. So that's kind of cool. Streamer mode. Okay, so this, again, I don't want to go into too much detail, but this is coming. And And I'm going to be real with everybody. If you are somebody that plays ranked, this should be a default mode for every single ranked player moving forward. And that's the thing that I will say. It's not a streamer mode. In League of Legends, there is no downside to hiding your information to the enemy. Zero. If anything, it's only a positive. Every single ranked player nowadays literally looks up game data. 90% of players probably look up game data. And if they go, hey, that person has got a 90% win rate, I'm going to camp the living hell out of it to try and stop them snowballing. Or, oh, that player's got a 20% win rate, I'm going to camp him because he looks bad. Information is key. So if you can hide that information from your enemy, that's a net win. Even if that, everyone does it, no one gets information, well, then everyone's at a net kind of neutral. But this is going to officially kill things like op.gg, match search, Professor, etc. Riot have said, a little while ago, they did want to crack down on stuff like this. Because, when they do their player surveys and that, one of the common themes with people saying is there's too much information that people are getting. So there's kind of, obviously there's 3 modes to it. Well, 4. There is, you don't have this on at all. So, as it currently is. And there's hide other names. So if you, want to, this is a weird one because it basically hides, let's say my name. Okay, it has Huzzy on the screen, so you can see Huzzy. But then all the other players in the game, theirs are being hidden. So protecting them, I guess. But your identity is still visible to those players. The second one, which is the one that I probably will do, by the way, which is hide my name, which is hiding your Riot ID and game name to all players in Champ Select, in-game and third-party apps, so they can't look up this stuff. Your account progression, however, so your mastery score and your champion, your challenges, your title, profile pick, ranked border, that stuff will still be visible. So, you're still in Champ Select, in loading screen, there will still be a master border. There'll still be the title masterful. And if someone clicks to see what mastery, if, oh, right, I'm on my Anivia, okay, the guy's got like 200,000 on Anivia or whatever, he plays Anivia. That's what you could give your team in knowledge. That's the one I'll probably do. But then the third one is hide everything. So just completely anonymous. There is no information that you're giving to anyone. Your summoner name is hidden. Your champion, your border is hidden. Everything is hidden to anybody in the game. I think a lot of people are also going to do that one. But yeah, I would say it's a bit weird to call it, to be honest, streamer mode. I don't think I would have called it streamer mode. I think I would have called it just anonymous mode. It's not stream. There's not many people that stream League. The vast majority of people that use this feature will not be streamers. It'll just be the average ranked player. So yeah, I don't know. It's a bit weird, but I think it's going to be the default. So this is actually kind of a weird one, I will say. So only currently in North America and OCE that they're testing this, banning allied hovers. So if someone hovers Yumi right now, you could ban it. That is going away on these 2 servers in testing. I hate this change. Some people are like, wait, what? Why? So again, it does show that the philosophy of Riot is changing a lot. And it's probably just different leadership that are bringing in new ideas. Riot in history always said, right, your ban is your ban. And if you're a player out there that just despises a champion, for whatever reason, you can have any reason for it. You just hate Galio, I don't know. You can ban Galio in every single match. So Galio does not exist in your game. It's that simple. Boom, it's done. This is stopping that obviously being a thing. So to some players' actual enjoyment of the video game, some champions are so much in the negative for them, they ban it every game, so that champion just doesn't exist in League. But that's going to stop this. If someone gets a hover in really quickly, boom, they can do it. Another negative of this, it's worth mentioning, new champions. So new champion, the only thing I would say about this that I would accept partially to move forward, new champions I think should be disabled in ranked for the first 1 to 2 weeks, maybe even the first patch, so normally a 2-week patch cycle, because the amount of trolling that happens in the first few days of a champion being released, it's not just that people aren't good with a new champion, because that's true. But it's the experimentation of when a champion simply is something and they're like, I'm going to jungle with it, and it's a support or something. You won't be able to stop that, where you can always understand, right, a champion has just been released, it's in ranked, you're just banning it for the first week. You're just like, nobody's playing this in my ranked game for the first week. It could either be broken because Riot's balance on champion launches was really bad, so it could be very broken, or my teammate has no idea what they're doing with it, or they're playing it in a role that it shouldn't be picked in. But this is going to stop that. You will not be able to ban it. So for me, I would say they should do that at the very least. Obviously, it's worth mentioning they don't release many new champions, if people have noticed that. They've really calmed down champion launches. If I had to kind of guess why, new champions are probably one of the most expensive things that Riot do. And Riot is, let's just say, saving the pennies at the moment for whatever reason. So they are not doing as many new champions. You know, I remember years ago we used to get like 6 to 8 new champions a year. By the way, I'm fine with this. We have plenty of champions in League of Legends, and I'm all for them doing more reworks of pre-existing champs. So yeah. Anyway, let's get into the champion changes. So Anivia, Anivia's been struggling to find success in the mid lane as of late. It's been quite a while. Her low mobility is one of her weaknesses. It's pretty much the weakness. So we're lowering something like this. Low mobility is one of the weaknesses. So we're doing the Q. Why not give her movement speed? So we're lowering her Q's cooldown slightly as a way to keep her enemies at bay, while also giving a bit more damage. So some people may be interested, obviously, to what I think. Again, I know people sometimes laugh about, oh, is Huz going to mention his history with Anivia? Yes, I am. So if you're newer to the channel, people may not know, I was the rank 1 EU Western Anivia a couple years ago, rank 5 in the world at one time. You know, she was my main. I was really good with her. You know, was I the best Anivia on EUS? Probably not, but statistically I was at a time, and I don't play her anymore. You know, I've quit. Well, I've not just quit Anivia, I've quit mid because of just what Riot have done to the lane. Mid lane sucks for low mobility mages. It just does. The game is more about roaming than it is about mid lane. It's about getting involved with all the objectives that are on the map. Anivia's really bad at doing that because she is so slow. Movement speed would help Anivia more than anything else. A good Anivia does not need a second extra on Q. A good Anivia doesn't even need more damage on E. Her damage is fine. She needs mobility in order to keep up with the modern game. It's not an Anivia's problem, if that makes sense. It's just the game has moved forward and Anivia is just being left behind. So I don't think this is going to help her at all. You know, and it's worth mentioning, can you still have a good game on Anivia? Yeah, you definitely can. She's a strong champion. That's, I think, where some people will get a bit confused. As you say, you know, blah, blah, like you've quit the mid, you've quit the champ, but you still call her a strong champion. I do. Anivia is a strong champion. If she gets what she wants, she is very strong. But if you play Anivia and you're against what a lot of people play nowadays in mids, roaming assassins, hell, roaming bruisers even in mid, not a typical immobile mage, she will struggle. If it's an immobile mage versus an immobile mage, Anivia can do okay. That's just really rare in mid lane nowadays, and that's more of a problem. So I like to see her get buffed. I just don't think it really helps, to be honest. I think it's just more about what's happened to mid. So yeah. Azir. So again, Azir, very good mid laner, has mobility built into his kit. You know, that's kind of the difference. So Azir's a bit too powerful in higher levels of play. So again, they're nerfing it. Remember, this is the Worlds patch, so they're worried he'll be like picked every game. So we're looking to shift his power around and reduce those pro-specific strengths. To do this, we're digging into his early laning phase and giving him less passive guaranteed wave control, but compensating him with a better late-game scaling, which is insane because his late-game scaling is already very good. So the W, his bread and butter, the soldiers. The AP ratio is going down by 10% in the early game, but up 10% in late game. Recharge is going 2 seconds longer in the early game, but then flattening to 6 seconds eventually. And then damage to additional targets. So when you kind of your guy, you know, pokes with his spear, the little soldier, So it used to do 25, 50, 75, 100 at level 1, 6, 11, 16. So at level 16, your soldiers just do all the damage to all the targets. There's no reduction. It's 20%, which is less at level 1 to 8. So again, remember at level 6, it used to be 50%. So it's 20%, which is lower than even what it used to be at level 1 until level 8. But then plus 8% per level from then on. So a level 9, it would be 28%. Level 10, I'm just trying to work out when does it actually break even. Can I actually, like, I'm going to do some math. So 20% plus 8. So 28, level 9. 36 is level 10. 44 is level 11. So again, at old level 11, it used to do 75% of the secondary damage. It's 44% now. Plus 8, 52. 60. God, it breaks even so late. It might only break even, dare I say, at level 18. How many is that? Again, I've actually lost count. That is 11, sorry, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Level 14 is 68%. Okay, level 15 is 76%, which is 1% more than it used to be at level 11. And yeah, so it's actually the break even point, I believe, is level 18. Oh, that's bad. Like, yes, it is doing 10% more AP damage in general, but that is bad. Oh. E shifting sands is also doing a bit more damage with a 20% AP ratio increase, so there's something at least. But yeah. Oh, I don't think Azir players are going to like that. That is, by the way, such a bad change for solo queue Azirs. Like, that's terrible. You're going to have 0 impact until arguably level 18. The W, your auto-attacking soldiers, that is your damage as Azir. Like, make no mistakes. That is his damage. That's a lot. Damn. Briar. Briar's been tearing it up as one of the highest performing junglers at lower ranks for a bit. Well, basically, because you don't have to do anything. She kind of plays herself, and she's very strong. So we're looking to tap down her power to bleed out enemies with her passive and max stacks. Obviously, I've got a really good Briar game coming out in a couple of days as well, by the way, video. But yeah, so in essence, the maximum stacks of her passive, which I believe is all about the bleed, is going down. So there we go. Camille. Again, very strong champion. Is a bit oppressive, to be fair, but yeah. So her laning fails is very hit or miss. Yeah. Either she can comfortably beat her opponent with her passive, or she can't really engage with the lane and loses. That's just the nature of the champion's kit, though. While she appears powerful in the hands of most players, we don't think this shape is healthy for her as a whole. So we're giving her W some additional... Oh, really? She is a strong champion. So we're giving the W an additional power that will give us some more strength to play around early while balancing that with reduced base stats. Okay, so that will punish worse players. So less armor growth. So she'll be a little bit squishier to AD champions. Then the W, though, was a 17-second cooldown. It's now 15. It does eventually level out to the same point, though. And the base damage is also going higher. So... if you can hit the W, it's better, but obviously a bad Camille may not consistently hit it, so it's actually a nerf. So I'm kind of okay with this. She is a strong champion, but I am kind of okay with that. Fish. Fizz. The problem that Fizz has got, so again, Fizz is a little weak right now. Yeah, I think the reason why I would say Fizz is a little weak, if I may, there's no point playing Fizz over similar champions to Fizz. There is no point playing Fizz over Akali, Katarina, Kiana. Like, they are just better. So, you know, buffing him may make him as good. Like, you know, I'm fine with that. But this is what I mean is, like, I'm fine with them buffing him, because in the category of champion he is in, he is definitely not as good as the others, you know? So the W, passive over time damage. Okay, so they're giving it higher base damage but less scaling. Damage over time no longer affects structures. Interesting. Damage over time now displays total damage to the target. Active burst damage, so when you press it, the extra kind of bomb it's doing is doing a little bit more from level 2 onwards. The on-hit damage, again, of when you press W, I believe itself, is it? Or when you just have it active, is going again up. So again, it's more of like a base damage buff, and it's an AP nerf. And then the Chum the Waters. So these 3 different things, by the way, are depending how far away the target is where you ult. If you get a maximum range Fizzar, you will get the Giga Lodon. If it's a kind of medium range, you'll get the Chomper. And if you just kind of like go dink and they're like next to you, you just get a Guppy. So these are all being nerfed. Wait, no, they're not. Wait, kinda. So it's a base damage increase, but an AP nerf. It's a base damage increase from rank 2 onwards, but an AP nerf. And the Gigalodon, it's a base damage increase from rank 2 onwards, but an AP ratio nerf. What? I need to read this. What are they doing? As his base damage are appropriate in the early game, but generally don't scale well without gold, we're looking to make some power positive adjustments to make him less reliant on snowballing. It's an assassin. That's what they are. If assassins don't snowball, they should be useless. This is what I mean. Riot's direction with the game is just up the ding. An assassin should have to snowball. That's the point of the class. As a whole, these changes should be positive for his upfront W burst damage, but make his ultimate a bit weaker. When a Fizz gets ahead, they one-shot at some people without their ult. I don't know, man. This seems a bit peculiar to me. Graves. So again, world-centric champion. Graves is a fairly popular jungler that's performing decently right now, but his builds have devolved into one-shot lethality. Yup. We don't believe this is a good state for him because his playstyle becomes one-shot or be one-shot, which isn't fun for everyone. Well, then you need to change a lot of other champions as well, because that's true for other champions too. But anyway, we think it'd be better for him to have a sustained combat pattern where skillful Graves players can utilize their grip, which is the 8 armor per stack kind of thing. So we're nudging his builds and playstyle around him, doing less reliant on bonus AD, so worse for lethality builds. And overall, this should net out a small buff once his change has some time to settle and players adapt. So when they say players adapt, not building full lethality anymore. So the initial damage of the Q is going up. But again, it's a 15% bonus AD nerf. And the secondary damage, so you got the initial damage is the shotgun, and the secondary damage is the kind of explosion at the end. It is... So again, base damage... So base damage nerf early, but actually a buff later into the game. But then the bonus AD once again, well, actually being... It's a buff in the early game for bonus AD, but then a nerf in absolute late game for bonus AD. And so then the combined damage of it all is going, I think, overall down. But again, the lethality builds do more damage when it comes to the spells. If you're kind of pushing Graves back to building a bit more like, you know, Shield Bow, Bloodthirster, stuff like that, his auto attacks will probably do more as well. So that's probably what they're thinking. So there's that. Okay, so that's all they're doing. So despite Katarina feeling oppressive in the mid game, she feels oppressive at all stages in the game. She's having a hard time actually converting her snowballs to wins. Mainly, I'd say, is because the average Katarina player thinks that they're like Goku and they jump in 1v5 and then get killed because they went in 1v5. It's not because she needed more armor, but okay. At least that's all they're doing. Malphite. Whoa. More armor for Malphite. Base damage up for E. That's pretty good. I don't know if we'll see much Malphite in Worlds, but that's pretty good for like Malphite top in solo queue. And Malphite's pretty strong, so like that's pretty pretty nice from Mr. Malphite. Fair enough. Orianna, so again, world-centric champion, very good for wombo comboing with like a Jarvan or something, and that's really fun to watching pros do it. She is just getting a buff. So on her W, which is, you know, the majority of her damage without her ultimate is the W, it's a 10% AP power increase. So that's pretty good. Nice. And she's a great champion, arguably the best mid laner designed. She is really good. I like that. Pantheon. On NERFS last patch, the Pantheons hit him a bit too hard. So we're walking them off a little bit. I will say, and I've said this over time and in the last few years, sometimes what Riot do, if a champion is gaining too much momentum, they will nerf a champion overly, and they'll know the nerf is a bit too much. And as they're nerfing a champion, they'll already have a buff in mind the next patch or the patch after to bring them back a little bit. Because what happens is the community as of League can kind of get a little bit snowbally in kind of pitchfork mentality. And if a champion is like, Riot, what are you doing? Nerf it, it's disgusting, and the ban rate spikes, all that you need to do to try and calm that down, just nerf it once. Do a harsh nerf for one patch. And yeah, for one tricks and stuff, that hurts them. But for one patch, you just kind of smack them over the head with a bigger nerf. And then you give them a little bit of a buff back, and things will calm down. And for those that go, why don't they just do a little bit of a nerf, you know, in the first place? Because the pitchforks will still be out. If you don't give them a big old whack over the head and kind of just make them fall out of meta, just even for one patch, people will kind of continue the hate brigade of that champion, and the ban rate will still be really high and stuff. You need one patch to make a champion really weak, because then it's just kind of forgotten about, and then when you kind of give it a little bit of a buff back, the players that want to play Pantheon, who are dedicated to Pantheon, they get to play him and continue him. But the players who, let's say, were jumping on just a bandwagon if he was overpowered or something, they've already dropped the champion by that time, you know? I would say I think they need to do that to Dr. Mundo. Since the whole Aloy's blowing up kind of thing, Mundo is still in that kind of world of people really having a bit of a pitchfork against him. I think give him a whack over the head kind of nerf for one patch, and then bring him back a patch after. I do think that would be a good idea. The problem with Mundo, for top lane specifically, Mundo is a hyperscaler, and people forget that. You know, he's kind of like Kale in terms of scaling, or has the potential to be that. The unhealthy nature of top lane Mundo is because of the Warmogs, because his weakness is lane phase, but the Warmogs gives him freedom. It just makes him unpunishable the moment he gets to that Warmog proc, which he can get pretty early. So realistically, to hurt Mundo, you probably have to nerf Warmogs, which, let's be honest, the only champion that buys Warmogs pretty much is Dr. Mundo. So it would do the trick if you just nerf that item. But anyway, they're just giving him monster jungle clear time speed back with buffs, so that's fine. Vigar, AP ratio on Dark Matter is going up. Nice, so just bigger damage. And he already can do a lot of damage if he gets to the kind of bigger AP levels, but that's fine. Volibear, like 5th nerf in a row for this champion, I think. So his AP ratio is going down on his passive, which is the Chain Lightning. The AP ratio is also going down on the E, which is the circle that does damage and give a shield. His AD build is, I've said it for a while, his AD build is probably stronger than his AP build. But the AP build, how do I say it? It's more noob friendly, or it's easier. Like, it genuinely is. So I think more people have gone to that out of just like, it's easier to do. But I think his actual potential of being a crazy strong champion, it's stronger with AD. Sundered Sky is a great item on him. Like, there's a bunch of really strong items for him in AD. So you're probably going to see more of that soon. So it's not really a nerf to Volibear if people are playing him in an AD way at all. Warwick. So Warwick is particularly oppressive in low skill brackets of play. I'd say definitely he's oppressive in low skill. I think it's still oppressive in high rating. And hell, I've played a bunch of Warwick because it's dumb. Like, it is. But they're finally nerfing. I remember for ages saying they need to nerf Volibear and Warwick, or they're nerfing both of them in one patch. But yeah, so we're looking to make his claws and his teeth a little less lethal. As he's often able to simply build tank items later into the game, we're nudging him towards keeping up with damage purchases by reducing his guaranteed late game damage output. So his base stats, his attack damage and attack speed growth are both coming down. So it does hurt the champion. It won't really affect his lane phase too much, not massively, because it's more about growth. But and obviously growth is what your stats and you're getting per level as you level up in the game. So yeah. Wukong. So Wukong has been performing quite well at the highest levels of play, despite not particularly strong at low levels. It's because he's a hard to play champion. He's not an easy to kind of play champion. He's a bit weird. But we're looking to bring his ceiling down and his floor up by moving some power away from his pure pro skewed abilities and distributing it throughout the rest of his kit. So the bonus damage ratio of his Q, which is kind of just the bonk, was a 55%. It's now to a 50% bonus AD, so a nerf. Then the W, the cooldown of it, which is the Trickster making a clone, that is a more pro-centric ability because it's kind of utilizing kind of fooling people and stuff. The cooldown of it is going up by 2 seconds across the board. That's a big nerf. And the clone damage is also doing 5% less damage of the Wukong. So yeah, maximum rank is doing 50% of what the Wukong does, but that is being, from 55% of max rank. Then the E, the base damage of that is going up. So again, very easy to use the E. It's just click on them and it's a gap closer. So they're buffing that. So again, better for not as good players. So there's that. Lane swap detection. So this is a very much world centric thing. Because what they don't want, and it happens every single time in Worlds, the worst teams, or if you know you're outmatched, what a lot of teams have historically done in Worlds and Internationals is try and cheese. And that might not be a cheese team comp, but it's we're going to hide our bot lane away in top lane so you can't win, just the 2v2 or whatever. Because if you win a 2v2 bot lane in Worlds, by the way, the game's over. So they are changing lane top lane detection from 3 minutes to 4 minutes. This also will impact support roaming, and I've had supports roam at like 3.5 minutes recently, up to top lane. So in essence, you can't lane swap without massive punishment now. The first 4 minutes of the game, so basically where you're starting the match, and supports cannot be top lane 3 minutes into the game like you occasionally see. So this is just trying to stop the lane swap meta potentially taking over Worlds, which I'm all for because lane swap meta is very boring. Doombots, not again. I just can't get into Doombots. I just don't find PvE that interesting in League of Legends. Arena changes. Let me know if you guys are playing Arena. Emote searching upgrades. You'll be able to search for that. Icon rarity updates. Oh. Okay. Custom game improvements. Oh, this is good for me, by the way, because I will say we have unlocked a 12-hour stream that I'll be doing in the next few weeks. Part of that will be definitely playing with viewers, and we like to doing, custom games. So now, if we make an ARAM custom game, you can actually select which map you'd want to use, so it doesn't have to be Howling Abyss every game. I like that a lot, so that's all good. Spectator mode improvements. What? Minimap can be clicked and dragged from its edges to remove around the screen. Minimap has new transparency options. Minimap frame border can be toggled on and off. Minimap scaling. It's all about the minimap. But again, not fixing some of the bugs, like we haven't been able to see like the VFX of teleport for like 3 years. But that's interesting. Bug fixes, upcoming skins. So there you go. That's going to be it. Not the biggest patch. So again, they did say majority of the changes they did last patch. So this is just kind of like making sure there's not something outwardly OP or oppressive for Worlds. We might get a hotfix if something in the next few days to a week kind of stands out in the patch. Riot will not want something very standouty OP, so they will do a hotfix if they need to. But there we go. That's gonna be it. Let me know what you guys think. As always, I'll get this out today. So if you appreciate that, please do throw a like on it. Comment what you think of the patch. Again, comments do help, so please do comment, even if it's just saying hello. But yeah, comment and all that. Subscribe if you're not, and I'll see you guys in the upcoming stuff, which again, the upcoming stuff I've been pretty happy with. So I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Welcome to the Rift, where the legends play. It's us and games bringing skill every day. From tips to tricks and play so fine. You'll learn the game and have a good time. join the family tree. Like, comment, and subscribe. Keep the Huzzy dream alive.